Hi. Today I want to share a personal experience that has to do with a time in my life when I was a caregiver for my mother who had Alzheimer's. So it all started at a time in my life when, of course, things are a little bit complicated. I had 2 young boys at the time. They were preteens, and I was working full-time, and also I was attending university once a week, but what it entailed was that I would have to be writing a lot of papers during the remainder of the week, and that's when my caregiving began, and I became not only a mom, a full-time employee, with all that entails. I also became my mother's caregiver. Nights were the hardest. That's when she became most anxious, and her sundown would flare, and religiously every evening. So from there until the time she went to sleep, it was very difficult to do everything around the house, schoolwork, you name it. But what would happen was that she would say to me, I need to go home because my children need me. And I didn't know it at the time what it was called, but I do now, and it's called Therapeutic Fibbing. And although it made me feel horrible lying to her, I realize now that it was something that is required if you're going to be a caregiver, simply to comfort them and make them calm down. So I would have to say to her something like, oh, don't worry, dad is with them, he already fed them, they're okay, so don't worry. And this was definitely very difficult. She also would wake up several times during the night to go to the bathroom, and I would have to get up and help her because obviously I didn't want her to trip or fall or anything like that. So that meant that I would get very little sleep. So yeah, that was a very difficult situation, and one that takes a lot of patience, and that is something that I've definitely learned. Fortunately for me, I did seek out help early on, and I was able to attend a 12-week class on caregiving for Alzheimer's patients, and that was a tremendous help because not only did it, make me a more informed caregiver on how to address situations, but it also gave me resources. Needless to say, that was extremely difficult. I'm not going to lie. There were times when I would just have breakdowns, and I would either find myself calling my siblings who were not near, they were out of state, in despair and just not understanding, not knowing what was ahead, how I was going to be able to do it. I felt like I had no strength anymore. I even would call the Alzheimer's hotline, and their people were absolutely amazing and would walk me through my feelings. And after I would be done talking to them, I would feel better because it gave me the opportunity to just talk it out. You cannot do this alone. You definitely need others that are either have empathy or understand it, because if not, then it's not a good thing. You really need to surround yourself with those that can really, really reach out to you and just help you through it. Yeah, so what I did was I relied on my faith. I would pray a lot, and I would just ask God that it wouldn't prolong to the state where she would be like a vegetable. I was dreading that, thinking that my mother couldn't swallow or anything like that. It was just too heartbreaking. Not to mention the fact that it's like an early grief process when you have someone with Alzheimer's, because there are moments where they know who you are, and then there are moments that they don't know who you are. They can become aggressive, and it's really heartbreaking and very painful. But my faith definitely carried me through it. Lots of prayers, and I'm very grateful that I relied on that as a tool to help me cope and know that God's promises never fail, and that it's only a season, and I was doing the right thing. When you're going through something like this, you really don't understand it. You're just going through it somehow. You don't have time to really process it until after the fact, after years. It's been, for me, it's been since 2008 that I lost my mom. And I realize now that God had other intentions with this journey, and that was to prepare me for future hardships, building my patience, my endurance, my comprehension, my compassionate side, empathetic side. And it does come to a point where you will pull from those experiences and realize that God allows these things to grow us, to build us up as we mature, and that it's not in vain. I definitely do not regret 1 second having been the caretaker of my mother. I look back on them very tenderly now, and I'm just grateful again that God was with me through it all, honestly, because it was almost 3 years that she was with us, and she was loved, she was cared for, given the best that we possibly could, and I'm just grateful. Just sitting here resting now, but I wanted to give you my last thought. If you're going through this season right now, and whether it's caregiving for your elderly parents or maybe even someone else, I just want you to know that it's not in vain, that it all has its purpose in the end. And one day you will perhaps look back and, like me, understand what it was all about. You see the bigger picture. And although it's the toughest thing one will have to do, seeing their loved ones slowly vanish, the later reward is peace. It's peace within that just makes you feel like you did what you had to do as a daughter. I look at it as she cared for me and sacrificed all her life, and that's the least I could do for her. And I hope she's looking down from above. I know she is, and I hope she smiles. And I know that one day I will see her again. Please share if you are going through something similar. You can comment below, maybe give an encouraging word to anyone else going through this. And I would love to hear from you. have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. This is Isabel with Silverliningsdiaries. Take care.